They were found on Sunday. On Thursday, Border Patrol agents discovered 4 charred bodies, 3 men and a woman, either in the same area or, because the press accounts differ, possibly closer to Del Zura, which would be on the reburnt northern flank of Otay Mountain. And the remains of yet more victims may be discovered in the coming weeks in these funeral pyres of Chaparral and Oak. The number of the injured is also probably much higher than what has so far been acknowledged in the English language press. Yesterday, L'Opinion reported, after talking to the California Office of Emergency Services and a Border Patrol spokesman, that, quote, at least 50 of the 130 people injured by the fire were undocumented immigrants found by the Border Patrol, quote. Indeed, the brief abandonment of the border post at Tecate, when the agents were forced to flee from the flames, apparently set off a high-level red alert. And about 100 National Guardsmen and some Border Patrol were quickly dispatched to reseal the border. According to the Los Angeles Times, 26th of October, quote, more than 200 migrants in the area, some, quote, smoked out of the ravines, were arrested by agents. So there were mass arrests of at least 200 people. The Tijuana paper's El Mexicano reports that Grupos Beta, the elite Mexican police who patrol the border, rescued 50 other people who were trapped by flames. The fire burnt into the Mexican side of the flanks of Tecate Peak. At the same time, immigration agents became conspicuous at fire zone roadblocks throughout the county. Now, allied with the threat of the Witch Creek fire, as it moved from the backcountry toward the coast, mainly down the channel or the corridor of the San Gaguito River, that threat combined with the Migra presence and whatever else happened. And I'm hoping maybe Justin or perhaps people in the audience can clarify this and add new information to it. But in any event, it seems to have at least temporarily scoured the canyons east of I-5 in the Encinitas-Carlsbad area of their long-established populations of gardeners and farm workers, people that Lewis Hawk here from UCSD has been chronicling for 25 years now, several thousand people at least who live in these canyons. Thus, the fire combined with the Migra presence achieved the same local ethnic cleansing for which angry homeowners and San Diego nativists have been clamoring for so long. It was also reported to L'Opinion by El Comité Amigos Americanos de San Diego that many farm workers, mostly indigenous Oaxaqueños, in the Rancho Penasquitos area, not only were not evacuated from the path of the fire at the time when everybody else was fleeing in their SUVs to LA or to Qualcomm, not only not evacuated, but were ordered to keep picking tomatoes. Which brings back to me images of during the last fire, during the Cedar Fire, Jim Miller and Kelly Mayhew, who I'm sure many of you know, teach at City College and were my co-authors in a book about San Diego. We were desperate to find a place to run, so we decided to drive up to, run in the beach in San Clemente. And of course, as you drove up, if you recall, those who remember the 2003 fire, it was just like this fire. It was just acrid, choking smoke and ash along the coast. And as we're driving up, we looked out the window, and there are the people that you'll always see between Carlsbad and Oceanside, working in, I think, whatever it is, the strawberry patch. So let me try and summarize this horror. You have at least 4 immigrants burnt to death, as well as 1 resident of Tecate. You have at least 4 immigrants who are presently right now close to death, along with 1 of the 4 injured firefighters. You have 7 other immigrants who are in the burn ward, several dozen more reported injured, hundreds arrested, and perhaps 1,000 or several thousand driven out of their informal housing. So let me repeat. This is the central human tragedy of the recent fires. But how has it been reported in local media? If such a thing as a negative Pulitzer Prize existed, it would undoubtedly be won by the heroic San Diego Union Tribune, whose headline last Thursday warned, quote, "Criminals use fire to their advantage." The inflammatory first paragraph of this article by Chet Barfield read, "Burglaries of evacuated homes, cars belonging to residents who are fleeing the fires being broken into, thieves stealing supplies to relief victims." What image springs to your mind? The same kind of things that were said about New Orleans. But Barfield, as is so often typical of Union Tribune reporters, provided no evidence whatsoever of widespread looting. Indeed, he relied strictly on what he admitted were anecdotes emailed to the Union Tribune. If any of you read the Union Tribune email responses, you know what those tend to be like. The case of one Tribune reporter who claimed that her evacuated home had been burglarized, and two reported cases in the Ramona area. And when Barfield asked San Diego police spokesman Monica Munoz about the crime wave, she told him, quote, the department had had no official reports of fire-related burglaries, although 5 arrests had been made since Sunday for minor violations such as interfering with an officer or being in a restricted area. 5 arrests? This deserves black bold type and headlines designed to scare us out of our pants. So Barfield's last resort, his final card, was to write the following. However, 6 people were caught stealing relief supplies yesterday from Qualcomm Stadium. An evacuee reported seeing them load 2 pickups and a car with cots and other items, leave and then return. Quote, unequivocal. He doesn't say alleged to have stolen. He says caught stealing. So the UT, together with the local television stations, owned by Rupert Murdoch, or as in the case of KSUI, you ever wonder why you see Duncan Hunter all the time on KSUI? His campaign manager owns the station. So the UT and the yellow TV stations then proceeded to give large quantities of gasoline to the internet arsonists who were busy spreading bogus tales of Mexicans with Molotov cocktails and Mecha burning Orange County, with these wildly inaccurate tale of Mexicans looting Qualcomm Stadium. In fact, as La Opinión, the infinitely more responsible Spanish language daily in Los Angeles, pointed out, the actual incident was a misunderstanding over diapers, no less, although it led to several deportations by conveniently available immigration agents. The following Sunday, last Sunday, Bob Kittle tried to exculpate his paper from the mess it had created with a remarkable editorial that concluded that the events in Qualcomm were a muddle. And like Werner Heisenberg discovering the principle of uncertainty in quantum physics, he said that nobody really knew whether or not anything had been stolen, nor for that matter whether any of the illegal aliens had started any of the fires. That might yet turn out to be the case. It might not be. We just don't know. This is all about, allegations and scare headlines that originated in the UT itself. But if Kittle had doubts about whether there were looters in Qualcomm or the city was being struck by a crime wave, the UT had no doubts at all about the larger meaning of the Holocaust in Tecate Mountain.